Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This video is going to show and explain more to you about consumer credit and managing personal financial. So I'll be explaining about the background of consumer credit and managing personal financial. First and foremost is consumer credit. In general, credit consumer refers to credit extended to consumers for the purchase of goods or services. According to Latoya Irby's article, The Balance, consumer credit is money that consumers can borrow to pay for or purchase goods or services. They can pay for them over time by first making a purchase. Credit cards, student loans, mortgages, and auto loans are all examples of consumer credit. Federal and state laws govern consumer credit to protect consumers from unfair lending practices and to prevent businesses from discriminating against them based on the non-financial factors. Secondly, managing personal financial. In a short term, personal financial management simply means gaining a consideration of your financial condition in order to make the most of your assets day to day and in planning for your future. For the personal finance definition is the process of planning and managing personal financial activities. For instance, income generation, spending and saving, and protection. These processes are also known as budget.
Next, I will be explaining the purpose of consumer credit as well as managing personal finance. So, firstly, consumer credit is a system where it benefits the customer to borrow a sum of funds by submitting the repayment within the given period. This gives consumers to enjoy their goods and services before settling the payment. However, it is important for the consumers to settle their payments in time to avoid unnecessary overload debt occur. Hence, a debt service ratio is introduced to prevent this situation from happening. This ratio will help consumers to determine how good or bad a consumer's financial status is. Moving on to managing personal financial functions. This system aims to manage consumers' financial and evaluating money as well as investment in order to make the right decision for both short and long-term period. This system may assist consumers to calculate the required sum of funds to meet personal goals in the future and what kind of arrangement it should take. So, to illustrate, the system are able to estimate the cost and sales, advising on financial matters, and more. Plus, there are two most serious purposes of financial management, which are creating financial controls and making capital choices.
Firstly, I will explain about the importance of consumer credit. One of the importance is preserve an effective economy, which allowing them consumer to pay for college, purchase houses, and start businesses to increase profit. Getting loans can make consumers spend more and automatically affect the gross domestic product. The GDP will increase as many people buying. As people get more money and loans, they can spend more. When this happens, employer will need more employee as many people need the services. For example, laptop services. As many people buying laptop, there is need to be increase in employee of services. There is also one of the importance in credit consumer as it can make better employment for the economy. Next importance is by using credit can prevent us from thief. We are not using cash immediately to pay goods and no need to bring more money to mall to buy some things like televisions or buying houses. If consumer pays in credit term, there will not effect on money going out as the money we did not see. Not to forget that if you are using the credit cards, they will have rewards like cashback and also points which can be redeemed when reach certain limit. Next, for the importance of managing personal financial, we need to do the planning if we want to live peacefully without having headaches to think about that. Having more debt will make people bankrupt, which will affect your whole life. Make sure to pay every month of monthly installments of car or houses, as 1 month left, you will feel trouble in paying 2 months in a row. Furthermore, if you are planning on financial, will make self-control as buying an important things first and save some portion for emergency situation. If you are planning the financial, we also can prevent from getting trouble for future. Financial planning is very important, especially for people who already have a family, as many things that needs to be prepared.
Assalamualaikum, I'm Hana and will talk about current issue which managing personal financial planning. Finding the best method to spend, save and invest money may not seem like a significant concern in a healthy economy, but COVID-19 is putting Malaysian financial security at danger. Pandemic are forcing people to realize that financial literacy is a must-have ability in any situation, especially when a global or personal tragedy strikes. Malaysian financial habits have stayed mostly unaltered since this time last year. According to the newly released Ringgit Plus 2020 Malaysian Financial Literacy Survey, less than half of those surveys said that still spend exactly what they earn or more, and more than half said they will not be able to survive on their savings for more than 3 months if they lost their job. Despite the fact that the pandemic has generated temporary solutions such as loan moratorium and debt repayment assistance, more than 60% of those under 35 are unaware of current debt restructuring and rescheduling program. Despite the fact that 70% of Malaysians feel their EPF will not be enough to pay their retirement, 45% have yet to begin retirement financial planning, according to the research. In reality, many people struggle to make ends meet throughout their life, paying little or no attention to their own finance. But it's impossible that this isn't totally their fault. According to the research, although money concerns affect every other regardless of career, we don't quite teach it in school in a meaningful or necessary way. Financial literacy is less concentrated than general language, math and science, but it deserves equal attention to history, geography and art. Professor of Banking and Finance at the University of Malaya emphasized the need of developing financial buffer so that people can do more than just survive a long-term crisis, although he acknowledged that this was easier said than done for some. Many low-income people who may or may not have any saving to begin with are unable to build this financial buffer due to a lack of financial resources. Although she says find it impossible to get out of debt after they have gone into it. From an early age, we need to be taught about the importance of financial planning and having a budget, she stated.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good day I bid to our respected lecturer, Madam Nur Syahidah Badrisha. I'm Aina Shuaida binti Ahmad Nizam, and my metric number is 2022923657. Today, I'm going to present the current issue of consumer credit. Nathaniel Popper of the New York Times has written an interesting story on new Federal Reserve statistics showing that the percentage of Americans under 35 who have credit card debt has dropped to its lowest level since 1989. According to data from the Survey of Consumer Finances, neither age category has experienced a faster reduction in the number of people with visa commitments than young Americans, sometimes known as recent college graduates. In a publication that analyzes the installment industry, it is apparent that youngsters are not interested in being indebted in the same way that their parents are. However, according to David Robertson, the publisher of the Nielsen report, new bankrupt research stated that young people in the United States are scared of credit, resulting in low card ownership rates. In reality, just 33% of those between the ages of 18 and 29 had a visa. This valid for 55% of those aged 30 to 49 and 68% of people aged 65 and over. However, their hesitation might have long-term consequences for new college graduates as well as for the monetary system and the economy. Consequently, it is far more difficult to obtain a home loan without a considerable track record, for example. Furthermore, Gregory Elihausen, a financial specialist at the Federal Reserve, who has substantial influence on consumer financing has already stated that it will most certainly take longer to obtain credit. Meanwhile, their behavior and some of their inclinations might have been influenced before. Moreover, banks declare that their MasterCard business is booming and that the number of customers experiencing trouble paying their bills has dropped to an all-time low. Many more young people, on the other hand, have stayed uninvolved. Discouraged by new rules implemented in the aftermath of the crisis, as well as massive student debt, they are also concerned about the temptation to overspend the credit cards offer. The current comeback in general credit card use in the United States has been driven mostly by subprime borrowers, according to the Federal Reserve, which has not analyzed major increases in borrowing by age. Market analysts tracking payment patterns may discover that fresh graduates are increasingly opting for payment methods that bypass both cash and credit. When a check card and app like Venmo or web-based installment administration like PayPal may be utilized for the tiniest transaction, why transport cash? Normally, each of them takes money from a leisure. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you to the group members for the presenting. Lastly, I will present conclusion and recommendation for consumer credit and managing personal financing. We conclude that both consumer credits and managing personal financing impact consumers' life. Learning how to manage their expenses using credits and plan for a financial life can help the consumers plan their finance well. This is because these two types are much related to each other when using credit. When consumers plan their finance well, they will not declare as bankrupt, and with good planning, they will have good life with zero stress and living in peace. As for the recommendation for consumer credit, we recommend by reduce your stress by becoming cashless. This is because in the age of digital wallets, carrying cash is inconvenient. Thus, by conveying credit or charge credit is a much more secure choice. Next is have express no to going out with companions. Credit cards allow you to spend more than you intended, so you have no regrets. Third, credit cards make things easier because the end of each month you will receive a specific statement. Lastly, you cover monthly invoice using a credit card and can avoid any missed repayments, overdraft payments or tension. Next, for managing personal financing, we recommend to create a budget to help people plan and manage their own finance. A good budget not only allows us to save money, but it also helps us stay on track to reach our financial goals. Second, you need to consider your expenditure. You need to record all your expenditures. After that, you should save 10% to 50% of your income. This can save being zero in account and also can use for emergency or use in future. So the key to successful saving is to pay ourselves first before paying others.